All right, welcome to the second PowerPoint for this week. This one is specifically on fee structures. This is how we develop a fee structure, and by fee structure, I mean what we charge for the services that we provide. What you're going to need to create fee structures, there's a couple of information that you need from your program in order to do that, and then also ways that you can determine market value. We're not going to have an assignment built on this because it's going to be very variable depending on your community, what kind of program you offer, and the ages that you provide services for. Okay, so an appropriate fee structure, it's very appropriate to your community and the population that you serve. It also allows you to pay expenses and to grow your school as well. So once again, even in Oceanside, where I live, there are going to be very variable fee structures depending on the ages that are served, if it's toddler, preschool, after-school programs, the families that use it, the funding sources that they use, if they have state eligibility, federal fundings, things like that as well. But it's really important because you need to pay expenses and you probably want to grow your school as well. You have a vision, you want to, transition to a certain type of curriculum, or you just want to provide different types of services. So we're always kind of in a growth mindset that we are adding and making our program as good as possible, and that requires a certain amount of money or cash. We also want to allow an employer to draw income as well. So if you are an FCC or a small business, you need to have an income too. You need to be paid for the work that you are doing. You're probably doing a lot of work. I left this out of my online assignment. So my online assignment is very, very, very basic. I will show you later. It literally just looks at a classroom, kind of crunches the numbers for you. This is designed to be an introductory assignment about fee structures. So if somebody doesn't have any experience working within fee structures, this is an online assignment that we're going to do that is going to support you. Many of you are going to be past that. You're already running a program. You already have a lot of financial responsibility. And then as well, for our resources, I have an enrollment and fee structure online on Canvas. I also have a budget from the Business of Childcare by Gail Jack as well. And then there's a fantastic one called on entrepreneur.com, which is for small business owners, called Start Your Own Childcare Series. It's a book and a series online as well. I think you do have to pay, but it's an interesting source as well if you are looking to learn more about starting childcare. Okay, so to determine a fee structure, look at 3 areas. So you need to look at classroom costs, so your salary and your benefits for your employees. You need to look at overhead, your administrative costs, your lease, your utilities, and your taxes. And then profit. You want your program to make profit. Typically between 9 to 14%. I would say that the average is 10%. Some programs will not get to that. Some programs will exceed that. It really once again, it's determined by the type of program that you run. But if it's a nonprofit, you're not going to make any profit. But like what kind of aspects and what kind of funding you get, it's going to be very variable, again, depending on the program. Profit's also determined by market value and what other programs are charging in the area. And it's also going to be affected by full day and part day rates. So do you take both? Do you only take one? Do you only do part day? Do you only do full day? That type of things are going to impact that as well. So how do you determine market rate? The important thing to know is that you need to know what others are charging to stay relevant and competitive in your own market. Tuition should be based on balancing your budget, but there are community variables as well. So what can communities pay? So what can the people who live around you who are going to go to your center pay? And what type of center do you run? Infant and toddler being more expensive to run than school age and preschool as well. Also, it's tricky to do. You're going to need to research online. That's a really good way. It's quite anonymous. You can know what is Discovery Isle charging, what is the Head Start charging if people typically people don't pay at Head Start, but like what are the costs that the Head Start are incurring when they're running their program. Networking and professional groups as well, going to networks that are networking centers or programs, professional groups specifically highlighted for early childhood education, and you can ask, especially if you have friends and things like that. You can do a cold call And this is a little bit more in small businesses, not in early childhood education, where you just call somebody and you ask how much they charge. That's hit or miss. You can expect some resistance about that. It's not something that if they're not advertising it online or you can't just walk in and get the information, they might not want to give that to you. So they might, if you are also running an early childhood education program in the neighborhood or community, they might not want to offer that information to you, and that's fine. You need to continue to remain professional. That is a way to do it. Typically online, a lot of this information is online. And you can kind of see, okay, they're charging $200. They're charging $400 for infant care per week. You know, something like that, so that you can get a sense of what the other programs in your neighborhood are really able to charge. Okay, so I wanted to really get to this online assignment because I'm going to get out of this PowerPoint and I'm going to show it to you. The learning objectives for this assignment, this is very different. You've been writing up until this point. You've been writing things or taking quizzes. This is going to be an Excel spreadsheet. All I really want to do is to expose you and introduce you to a fee structure, which in this case is on Excel. It's an overview of the information that you need to have in order to calculate a budget. There are a couple things missing. There's no administrative cost, so we're not giving the person who's running the program a salary, which is an oversight. And then I didn't really get into all of the taxes and payroll and benefits. And then as well, the costs are a little bit low. So the rent and taxes and things like that are not what we are paying market rate right now in Southern California in the late 2000s or late 2010s, whatever we're calling this decade. So that is not accurate as well. I didn't want to scare anybody with what very large programs pay. If you are looking at a huge center and a shopping center or building your own center, things like that, you're going to have tremendous rent costs. There's no way around it. It's going to be much higher than what I have in this online assignment. If you are not, if you're in a church or you have the location provided for you by a school district, you'll have less of those costs, probably just minimally or towards like the wear and tear on the program, something like that. So I wanted to bridge the gap between programs that are spending a lot of money on rent and programs that are paying very little to nothing on rent. I tried to kind of go in the middle, but it does not right now reflect kind of market rate. I'm going to stop at the share. And I am going to share with Canvas. So for this week, this is your online assignment. Week 8, budgeting and funding. You will go to the fee structure. Once again, like everything, it's worth 10 points. But what you're really specifically doing this week is you are downloading the Excel spreadsheet called Fee Structure Excel Spreadsheet, and I will show it to you. You're going to download the worksheet and you're going to input the information from the fee structure worksheet into the green areas. And I'm going to show all of this to you as well. Then you're going, once you've done it, you're going to save it and you're going to resubmit the Excel spreadsheet back into Canvas. If you are struggling with downloading the Excel spreadsheet because you're on a Mac or a newer Mac or something like that, go ahead and you can recreate it on Mac's version of Excel and then resubmit it. It shouldn't be a problem if you save it as a PDF and resubmit it into Canvas. So if you're having problems on your computer getting this to work, don't hesitate to recreate it really simply as well in order to kind of get it working for yourself. Most people do not have a hard time doing that. They are able to download it with no problems, work on it, save it, and then resubmit it so that I can see it. So that is the fee structure. This is where you're actually going to resubmit the Excel spreadsheet so that I can look at it. The actual work for today, for this week, is going to be, once again, this fee structure Excel spreadsheet and this fee structure worksheet as well. So you're going to need to download this worksheet so that you can see it. This is going to tell you what to do. You're going to input data already provided from the worksheet into the green shaded area. Then you're going to calculate monthly tuition for an infant and a toddler. So I've given you, this is Van Squig Child Development Center. I've named it after myself. I have 12 infants, I have 20 toddlers, I have 44 preschoolers. I have 13 full-time employees. That's $25,000 monthly that I spend on salary. I have 3 part-time employers. Oh, you know what? I did put in a director. Okay, very good. I did do that. So I was wrong. I was talking earlier in this PowerPoint that I had not talked about giving an income to the director. I have. It's very low, $15 an hour, but I did add that in because I thought I would be a little remiss if I hadn't talked about it. So then I break it down by infant room, classroom as well, and then I talk about administration costs as well. Lease, taxes, liabilities, insurance, benefits, and utilities. $7,000 for the whole center. Once again, very low, does not reflect market value, but I wanted to bridge the gap between programs that have very little of leases, mortgages, or rent, and then programs that have tremendous costs as well, you know, over $20,000, something like that per month. So you're going to need this worksheet in order to be able to do the program. I would download or print it so that you can see it while you are actually working through the Excel spreadsheet. So download that worksheet and then go to the spreadsheet, which I have already downloaded. So I'm going to go to that. Okay. So this is the Excel spreadsheet that you will download. It's called the worksheet and it is up on Canvas. You will download it, it's on Excel. If you're having issues, you can recreate it on your Mac or whatever program you are using. So what you can see is you can add all kinds of numbers. And these green numbers I've already provided to you. So how many number of children? I think I had 44. And then for my infants, I had 20. Something like that, and then my preschoolers was 67. I don't remember exactly what the numbers are. You're literally going to use the numbers from the worksheet. Then it's going to give you administration costs as well. So that gives you 133. Then you go to infants and you can input numbers as well. How much cost is to do everything per semester. So then it gives you all different, when you input the areas in green, then this changes the things here as well. Then you're going to decide for red. So the green is already provided for you, and then Excel does things as well. You can enter any numbers that you want in here. You can enter 0, you can enter 1,000,000. Don't make up your own numbers though for the green. I'm telling you, you can put in any numbers. So if you wanted to play with it as your introduction, you can. But when you're actually doing the assignment, do the ones that I've actually given you from that worksheet that we have on Canvas, where I give you the Van Squig, change this. So once again, use this worksheet. This worksheet has those numbers. So you're going to need this worksheet in order to be able to do the Excel spreadsheet. You're going to take this information, you're going to read through it, starts to make sense. Oh, it cost me this much money in full-time employees. It cost me this much money in part-time employees. How many infants do I have? And then you're once again going to take that information. It's probably easiest if you've printed out the worksheet or you have it, and you can literally start to add in the numbers from the worksheet here. Don't make up your own number. If you're playing with it, that's fine. But for the actual assignment, when you resubmit it to Canvas, go ahead and input the numbers from the worksheet. So that then all the work is going to be kind of done for you. And then you're doing the red part. So it's going to tell you what the classroom cost per child is. It's going to tell you the monthly total cost per child. So how much you're spending on each child in the infant classroom, how much you spend each month on toddlers, how much you spend on each preschooler in your classroom. What would your monthly fee schedule be? How much would you charge that child? If you spend $20 per month on a toddler, how much should you tell the parents you need that month? So if you spend $20, obviously super, super low. We would never spend $20 on care. But for a whole month. How much would you charge them for a month of care? It would be $21, $22, something more than what you actually spent. So if you spend $1 on an infant per month on their care, once again, I'm making up a number that does not exist. You would never spend that much money. I would need to charge $3, $4, something more than what I actually spend. That is the entire online assignment. Is I want you guys to look at how many children are in a program, how much it costs per administration for them, what the classroom cost is per them, what the monthly total, so administrative costs and classroom costs, so how much you spend on each child in each classroom, and then how much you charge the parents. That fee schedule is how much you charge the parents. It should be more than what you're spending. That's the whole entire assignment. It's up to you, looking at how much profit you want to make, 14%, 9%, 10%, 8%, how much profit you want to make. It's up to you. It just needs to be more. All right, so that is the assignment. I am going to go back to the fee structure PowerPoint. So that is the online assignment. So the white areas are auto-filled by Excel. The green literally comes from the worksheet. I've given you this information. The red is what you calculate. So what fee structure is another word for tuition. So how much are you going to charge the parents? So once you're done with that, save the Excel spreadsheet and resubmit it back into Canvas so I can take a look at it. Oh, sorry. The online assignment, it's just the bare minimum estimate. It doesn't cover variables like fundraising costs. It doesn't cover anything like your contingency plan. It doesn't cover anything. This is bare bones. Or it doesn't cover funding sources. It's assuming that you get all of your information from your parents, all of your funding from your parents. If you don't, you could have another column on your Excel spreadsheet that talks about the funding sources that you get from the state government. How much money do you get per month? How much does that play into the monthly cost that you have for the children? I just kind of designed this to give you a taste of compiling data in Excel in order to understand crafting a fee structure or how much you charge parents. This is bare bones. Once again, it's the basics. It's a design. It was me designing an introductory assignment. Some of you, once again, are far, far past this. You budget every day, all day long at your program. This is just to give you an introduction. I have found as well that math, budgets, money, and any kind of discussion like this makes people in our field anxious. So me showing you spreadsheets for some of you might have brought up some difficult emotions tied up with your understanding of math and what you think your understanding of math is. There's also some difficult emotions in that we are placing a price on service and we are demanding that we get paid for the service that we provide. That's a difficult thing as well. We don't like to kind of think that what we do costs money. We do this work out of the love of our heart. It's a passion for us. It's kind of a reason for being for many of us as well. I share that with you as well, but I also know that in order to run a great program, I need to be financially compensated so that I can pay my staff, so that my staff can continue to be working families. If you have math anxiety, you have budgeting anxiety, you might not think that you have the ability to do this, or it's been a really long time. That's totally fine as well. The best thing to do is download the Excel spreadsheet and spend a few minutes just a day playing with it. So don't wait until Sunday night at 11:15. It's due in 45 minutes and you're gonna just really make yourself anxious for an hour trying to get it in, or 45 minutes trying to get it in. Don't do it in a pressurized environment. Don't do it when the clock is kicking down. Feel more comfortable with it by playing with it just a little bit. It's going to seem a little bit hard at the beginning, especially if you're not used to Excel, you've never been in Excel, or math and budgeting is not something that you do on a daily basis and you might be anxious about it. So please feel more comfortable with it by playing with it. Also emailing me if you need additional support as well. This assignment was just so that you could get some real world application and an introductory lesson into kind of budgeting. if you do need help, community colleges across the board have wonderful services that you can use in order to kind of get that support as well. All right, so that is the second one. This week we have 2 PowerPoints, and then you have the online assignment as well. All right, thanks so much and have a great week.